Hi, my name is Jess and this is Vox Populi. Today I'm honoured to be joined by Andrew Gold, the podcaster of the Heretics podcast. How are you doing today?
Good, tired, angry,
Why?
all of the things. Because it's been 3 days of this and meeting everyone, and it's been wonderful. But it's. Oh, that's not a good way to start an interview, but that's how I am.
So I've been told that you've been cancelled recently.
I've been cancelled like 5 times, and it stops meaning anything, doesn't it? Because if you're like an independent, you don't really have to be concerned with that. But I was cancelled initially for being a white man on TV, making documentaries, sort of Louis Theroux kind of stuff, and I was cancelled for that. Well, they said to me, we can't have you on screen anymore. You have to be off screen because you're white. More recently, I had a book out called The Psychology of Secrets, and that was difficult because everywhere I was due to speak about this book, every library, every art museum in London, they decided after inviting me to cancel that because I had said things about trans. And I think we were talking just before about some nutty atheist guy who was having a go at me. Is that what you were asking about? There's some fella, I don't know, his name's Andrew something. He's like this. Do we know what should we even say his channel? Because then he gets more views, doesn't he?
I think so.
He's just such a plonker. And there's a very typical type of atheist, unfortunately, who's become really woke. And I think a lot of us have noticed that. And they think they're very sensible, but obviously they've gone for these extreme, insane ideas like a man can have a vagina and vice versa. That is obviously mental to anybody. And to criticize the religious for their beliefs in magical things or whatever, and to not notice that that itself is absurd, is just the most... I don't even know how they can come to that kind of conclusion. But this fella made this video. It's done really well and got hundreds of thousands of views because he was invited to interview Richard Dawkins on stage, the famous atheist, and obviously a person who knows what men and women are. He refused, and rather than do it in good grace, he decided to make a video about how he said no to him. He named the person working with Richard as well to try and humiliate them. It's a really horrible tactic, really horrible thing to do. And he did this whole hit piece. It's just such a negative thing, but it's an easy way to get good views, where he basically listed a bunch of really nice, apart from myself, intellectuals. Some people like Colin Wright, the biologist. This is a scientist who is very good on exposing people who don't believe in evolution, for example. I think he had a go at Helen Joyce, who's a famed mathematician and really smart, lovely, lovely person. And he was having a go at each person, and then he got to me, and he just like really let loose. And I got the impression he has a special hatred for me. And I was really surprised because anyone who knows me knows I'm somebody who's out of this whole sort of culture wars thing, probably the most, maybe the least extreme, I would say. I'm very much sort of pro-choice, and I'm secular and atheist. I'm a vegetarian, for fuck's sake. So all the things that he would want me to be, I am those things. However, I don't agree with him on this one thing, so now I'm a Nazi. It's a very offensive thing to say to someone who is obviously Jewish as well. So I'd have to imagine, I wouldn't want to put words in his mouth, but he must be in a bit of a... I would imagine that was deliberate, like those kinds of words. And since then as well, I've heard from people in the industry, he's been actively trying to make others disassociate themselves from me. Again, I would say to him, what time in history has that ever been good? When you start telling people they have to disassociate from other people because of their beliefs. It's just a horrific authoritarian mind of somebody who I would consider to be an anti-Semitic bigot, but he thinks he can go around calling me all sorts of things. Now, I did email this fella, Andrew someone, to say, let's have this conversation. We can have it in a mature way, see where we both agree, where we both differ. He will not have the conversation. And again, in history, who has ever looked good? Who has been the people who are saying, look, no, I won't have the conversation, I won't discuss, I won't do any of those things. Well, I'm sorry, man, you're the bigot, unfortunately. We all like to think we're the good guys, but one of us here wants to have an open, frank discussion and understands the other side and understands and has empathy for people outside my own tribe. And the other one is out there trying to cancel others, trying to bring them down, trying to defame them, and doing so in what I would consider to be an anti-Semitic way. So screw that guy.
How do you think we can recapture these institutions and actually convince people who are quite against being convinced or being talked to or even having a conversation with?
We need, I think, more celebrities to actually become okay with speaking out. There are so many mainstream celebrities who watch my show, who watch Trigonometry, who watch Winston Marshall, who watch your show. They're all watching it the whole time, and then they cannot say anything. And if they all did it at once, we'd be all right. And they won't, and they say to me, I'm so sorry, I can't come on your show, I can't say these things because I'll lose my job. And I have a lot of understanding for that. I understand it because they have kids, they have a life, they have a salary that they are used to, and it's very, very difficult. And we ask these people to do things that we might not do. We often do them because we don't have so much to lose. I started my channel when I was already cancelled, so I had nothing to lose. But if I was now Louis Theroux and I was 50 odd and had this amazing career with millions of pounds, I don't know what he earns, maybe it's much less than that, but still a safe life, why would I risk coming out and saying these kinds of things? So I get it, but we need those people to come together and feel there's a space where they can talk, and to just start talking with the BBC producers and all of that. These are the ones who influence the people, and then everyone can feel safer to come out and say, no, a man does not have a vagina, a woman does not have a penis, no, you can't have men playing women's sports, no, it's not racist to say I'm not happy with certain religions being dominant in this country, people who might want to kill us because they say that. So that's a conversation that needs to be had, and it has to usually come top down. So I'm working, you guys are working to just make this more normalized, discussing this without being accused of being some horrible Nazi racist. Those guys, like this other Andrew fellow, I think that's his name anyway, are doing themselves a disservice. They're causing a lot of harm, and I think they probably, some of them know it, some of them don't. I think he's beyond help.